Debbie, how did your career start back in the 80s?
Okay, I'd been on holiday with my friends. We came home, we were all sun-tanned up, all in our shorts, went to the local nightclub, and there was a beauty contest down there. Miss Elliot's Lovely Legs, 1982 or 3. I was 1 at the time. It was the days where I did like a porno in black, and my friends entered me into the competition, unbeknown to me. And all of a sudden my name was called out. By now I'd had a few, and I was absolutely horrified because all the girls there were all coiffured and beautiful and, you know, doing their little catwalk walk and skinny. And then there was me. But not being one to turn down a challenge, I jumped up on the catwalk and I danced up and down the catwalk and just made everyone cheer and laugh and played around really. And one of the judges was Jeffrey Daniels, who took a shine to me. He liked my personality, thought I was funny and different, and I won. It was a fix. And yeah, and the prize was photo shoot.
What was it like, first time at a photo shoot? Terrifying,
absolutely terrifying, because I looked like Bananarama. I really did. I'd never been in front of a camera before like that, and I didn't see myself as model material. And my friend came with me. It was like my mum, and I wasn't allowed to show too much of this and, you know, too much of that. Yeah, I was absolutely petrified, but I loved it. Oh, really. And I hurt the next day. Yeah, it was good.
So, what was the big shows that you did when you first started out? Did you get to travel anywhere fancy?
Paris.
Gay Paris, what was it like?
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We used to do, I mean, it wasn't French Fashion Week or anything like that. It was little designers, but nevertheless it was Paris. And yeah, I was the rebel. I was the troublemaker. Like I say, I wasn't really a model. I didn't take myself seriously, although I was a model and I was there and getting paid for it. Yeah, we used to get in trouble and get up to all sorts of mischief. All clean mischief, I hasten to add. And my legs were on billboards in London.
So you were the legs of London at some point? Yeah,
let's just say a very famous hosiery.
Oh yeah.
I'm from Essex, so, you know, these words, they're big. But yeah, I was on one of their girls, and my legs were actually on billboards, and I remember going around Trafalgar Square and saying, "They're my legs," and yeah, prove it. But yeah.
So I know at some point your career was going along, but then you had an illness, as we call it, hit you.
Yeah.
What happened?
How did it start? Loads of things. Things had happened to me, and I'd had an amazing life. I'd also had some bits and pieces that were quite traumatic happen. And I was going up to London on train one day and I passed out. A couple of days later I got the feeling that I was going to pass out again, and cut a long story short, it escalated, and it got to the stage where every time I went out I was getting these feelings, so I stopped going out completely and became agoraphobic and claustrophobic as well, actually, because I remember one Christmas my mum and dad were going out and I was begging them not to leave me in the house alone, but then I couldn't go out. So, but yeah, I was housebound for 2 years, more or less.
How did it affect you? Was it loss of confidence?
Yeah.
What was really hitting you when you was stuck at home with this kind of agoraphobia?
Well, it was anxiety and panic attacks. Yeah, my confidence was totally shot. Okay, the truth is, all this is a facade, if I'm honest, and I think maybe I got to a stage where how do I say this? I got to the stage where I couldn't pretend. I couldn't always be the bubbly person that everybody come to when there were problems. Couldn't always be happy. So I don't really... I knew that I was a nice person, but I never really believed in myself look-wise. And I don't know, maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know. But, yeah, my confidence was shot. It just... everything went. Everything.
What was the moment that turned around for you, though? Start the ball rolling to recovery.
It's getting better. Okay. Well, I got married. I'd been with my childhood sweetheart since we were 14, on and off, as you do. But he was with me all the way through. And the wedding was planned. We got married. And yes, I did go out and get the wedding dress, but it was the quickest choosing of a wedding dress ever. My mum dragged me out. I picked one that had long sleeves and was a winter dress, and the wedding was in July. 2 sizes too big as well. And it was funny actually, because the wedding was great, the wedding was fine. But when we got back to the hotel in the evening, I had a huge panic attack. Oh, right. That was a bit crazy. But yeah, it was then, and I changed my doctors. Back then, you know, it was pull yourself together, you got nerves. The doctor had mind books in his surgery, and I asked him about it, and he sent me for counselling, and kind of the ball started rolling from there. But it took a hell of a long time. Yeah. Long time. Still get the odd one now. In fact, I've only just gone on a tube last year alone for the first time in 27 years. Oh. Now I do it all the time.
So counselling, you would say, I mean, it's a taboo subject for everyone out there for some reason, but from what I see personally, the people I've met who had it, it helps.
It was amazing.
It's nothing to hide away from.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. More people suffer with mental illness, and I think it's a terrible word to call it, because it conjures up all sorts of visions.
Certain stigma attached to that kind of word. It doesn't really justify the problems.
No, that's right. I mean, you think mental, and you see the stereotypical Halloween man, you know, with the axe flying around, but it's not. You know, and counselling is amazing. Well, it was for me. It was for me. And I remember going there and seeing a man. Don't forget, I was in my 20s, seeing a man in his 40s whose life had been over for years. In fact, I've just remembered there was one woman there who hadn't been out other than to go to the hospital and back for 30 years. Gosh. And I wasn't going to be like that. No. And I'm not. Thank God.
So, you got through the illness and the work wasn't there so much anymore, but then you started working again, I understand. But what stopped you eventually? What was the thing that stopped you from working for a while?
What, the modelling work?
Yeah.
I found I was pregnant.
So happy news.
Yeah, shock. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't modelling to the degree that I was before. No. I was just doing the odd little wedding fair and, you know, catwalk show in shopping centres. I remembered. Yeah, so it wasn't on a major scale. I met Morgan's dad, and then I found out I was pregnant. And was absolutely horrified because I had got my figure where I wanted it, and but yeah, and the little man came along, and again life took over. So yeah, it all ended then.